Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you are having an amazing day. Happy Friday to you and your family. Taking a look, of course, here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on, helping understand best practice, big picture. We're gonna look at some Fibonacci retracement levels, and of course, the traditional markets, kind of where they closed here today. Bitcoin futures as well, kind of just the whole 9 yards to get perspective on this weekend. I do feel like we're going to see some green this weekend. It may not be tremendous, but it will absolutely be better than we've experienced in the past. And what I just mean by that is there's a lot of confidence in the market right now. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt is dissipating. Some alts are doing well. And overall, I feel like the bottom is close to being in. Again, we could experience a dip in October, but notoriously October and November have been very strong months in the past. I think it's somewhere in the range of like an average of what it was at 103% quarterly return for October, November, December as an average. And I think what average returns too are 24 to 58% as far as October and November in past months. So doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see that, we're not going to break our previous all-time high of 69,000, but it does imply we might have some good chance here, right? So again, just some really cool little factors there, just getting prepared for next month. Once more, a dip down to 14, 17,000 could be a possibility still. We can't rule that out because we technically haven't broken above this trend line yet, but it is looking positive in the overall sense of things. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and take a look here, of course, and just to kind of preface, if you are new to the channel, of course, thank you so much for joining me, obviously. Hope you can learn something here today. I want you to know I have a trading academy, community, and signal group. Link in the description below for that, but if you're interested, cryptocash.tech is a website where you can become a better trader. And I apologize again for getting this video out late today. I actually got stuck helping a lot of new members getting started. Okay, so again, I work directly with my members when they start, and it's really nice to be able to have that experience and to get people where they need to go. And that is becoming self-sufficient, living that financial independence and retiring early, right? It's absolutely a possibility. So one last thing too is, of course, this is really important. I recommend using BitGet. Use the link in the description below for this because you do receive bonus transfer funds when you transfer funds over and effectively deposit and use this exchange. Okay, so it's an excellent resource. This is available for until November 30th, this promotion, so might recommend doing that just based on the simple fact that it is a really good exchange. They have fantastic application on the phone, and their level 2 data is phenomenal. I love it. It's my go-to over ByBit and, of course, KuCoin. All right, so let's jump right in here to the charts. We got this descending trend, and try not to get distracted too much with the the Fibonacci circle. That's beneficial in the overall sense of a support level. By the way, I did draw out the Fibonacci circle from this highest point to the most recent low. Okay, so you got to keep in mind that's essentially how you draw out Fibonacci retracement levels and circles is from the highest and the lowest most recent point. It has more impact if it's on a larger time frame too. That's why I chose the daily for that. So that being said, that's kind of where we're at here for Bitcoin. Just keep this in mind. This descending trend is still occurring. We've rejected it twice now, trying to break above that. You got to keep in mind, this descending trend, we've tested it multiple times. We've got 48,000 quite a few times, and then it broke to the downside. 48,000 was the last glimmer of hope before fear, uncertainty, and doubt just wrecked everything. Of course, inflation and the whole 9 yards all started to hit, so that makes sense. But if you look at the current price action where it's at right now, we did get rejected out as well, somewhere right here at the range of about 22,700. And then, of course, recently here, right at the range of 2,300. And then today, right there at 2,100. So, 20,100. So essentially 20,000 is the point we need to kind of break above and close above. It'd be extremely helpful and beneficial we do that. That's what we're looking for, but we are on an ascending trend. We're making higher lows and things are looking positive on the short-term time frame, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the standard stuff. First thing we got to get above, and this is also concurrent with 19,800, is this resistance level at 50 on the RSI. That is extremely important to get above that. That's something that is difficult in a lot of cases, so we want to make sure to have that be that would basically be our catalyst for either a support level to rely on once you get past that, or B, a short squeeze through that area. Okay, that could absolutely happen. So just be prepared for that. We do have a MACD convergence here as well, and the oscillators are still increasing, which is very good. It really just tells us that we haven't lost that bullish momentum yet. Okay, so again, positive sign in that sense. And then of course on the smaller time frames, we can see this here. There's an ascending type of trend right now, and I do feel like we're due for a breakout to the upside. It makes a lot more sense when you retest those levels multiple times. So again, that's where we're at there on the daily. One very last thing to recognize is simple moving averages here. We can see we're testing the 20, and of course the 50 is working its way down concurrent with this trend line. This is another reason why there's still a possibility of further downside. You need to recognize that and get that in your head. That's why you use small position sizing if you're using leverage, and you make sure to sustain yourself in this market. We have a specific bear market strategy that we're using right now. It includes trailing stop losses and low leverage position sizes so you don't get liquidated. There's a really cool way you can do things, and I've used this strategy in previous bear markets. It works very well. In fact, speaking of working really well, if we take a look at some of the previous signals here, you can kind of see that we've done very well. That's today's signals I sent out, but if you take a look here, we've got 45% profit from Bitcoin. That was a couple days ago, and then prior to that, of course, we were able to take more profit, 57%. That took 4 days, of course, and then, of course, somewhere in the range of 3 days for Ethereum to hit itself at 4% for spot and 44% for 10x leverage. And of course, we also trade XRP a lot as well, and BNB. Taking some decent profits, right? 10 hours for 31%. And of course, XRP, we hit our target 30% in 1 hour. So, again, there's some really cool stuff to be had here. Those are the signals that I send out. But even better than that, get this here. My trading community, check out the stuff that they can do. Like, look at this. Compos, he is killing it right now. He's hitting 112% on a recent Bitcoin short at 40x. Now, I don't recommend Bitcoin shorts at 40x. I don't recommend it, honestly, even at 30x. I would say 20 to 10 is probably the recommended amount. But you can just see there's a lot of positive momentum here, and our trading community is they're really killing it. I'm super proud of them. So well done, Amirsh and Alexandru. You guys are fantastic. And Philly, of course, always the best. So let's take a look here. With that being said, just to kind of preface here and let you know, I recently took a trade with Bitcoin, of course, and I'm expecting it to continue higher here at this point. We got in at 19,400. I'm going to make other videos later explaining why I took those trades so you understand, but for the moment, this is a positive sign, and a lot of it had to do with this trend line that we're seeing here on the 4 hour and the hourly. We can see the price wicks down and essentially is able to bounce off these key levels and continue its way up the Fibonacci. So positive stuff there. We're also trending above 50 on the RSI. While you might want to argue that we've retested the RSI multiple times and it's going to break to the downside, that's equally positive though because of the fact that we're making higher lows. If we weren't making higher lows, I'd be concerned by it. Since we are, that's perfectly fine. It really just tells us that we're not losing that bullish momentum, we're continuing higher, and we also have convergence on the MACD on the daily. While the 4 hour is kind of drawing dead, not super reliable, it is telling us that we still have bullish momentum, or at least generally a little bit of it. All right, so again, the 4 hour time frame isn't like super strong. It's not like it's pushing really hard to come up, but it is telling us that there's confirmation that price action should continue higher. Last but not least, go ahead and take a look at the hourly and kind of just help understand where we're at for the cloud and a few other factors. We can see a nice bounce off the cloud here so far. Again, a little premature, but it's bouncing out the cloud and the ascending trend. That's another reason why I decided to take a trade based on the fact that we're still remaining above the cloud. The cloud is a support level, and it is running concurrent with this Fibonacci retracement level of 19,333. So 19,333 is essentially this nice little support right here, and we see the price action making higher lows consistently. So those are all things that I like to look for. So positive sense here, conversion line still above the baseline, which tells us we have the momentum that we need, even though we had this funky little candle here, and the conversion lines the lagging span is intersect with the price action. That's not necessarily a problem, at least for me in this regard, because we have a lot of other complementing factors, right? So again, when you're doing trading, you're looking for things that are going to help swing in your favor, right? And you're adding different scenarios together to kind of come up with a conclusion of a statistical probability. That's all we're doing right now. So statistically, again, 93% of statistics are made up on the spot, right? So if you think about that, in this regard here, I think it's more likely a 60-70% probability the price will continue higher because it's not giving us a reason it wants to change that momentum. While it is getting rejected at these specific key levels, the more often we test them, the more likely they are to break. So again, very positive in that regard. I think we're looking good. We did come down here to a 6. We're getting a potential bounce and a reset. So TD sequential is not overextended by any stretch. So keep in mind it could come down a little bit further. I put a second entry in at 19,000 even to ensure that if it comes down lower, we get filled. But at this point, we very well likely will hit our first profit target. Again, all good stuff there in that regard. So, at this point, Bitcoin, while it is still descending and we still have confirmation that we're in a bearish market for the moment, I think that time is coming up soon. I do feel as if we'll either get a make or break situation soon, where the price action breaks above cleanly and stays above, a lot of shorts get squeezed out, or the inverse applies, we reject again once more, continue to progress down to 17.6, the most recent support, and effectively continue to hold at that level and or continue lower. Those are all still probabilities, but the likelihood is less based on its recent productivity, so to speak, and to the upside is looking fantastic in the overall sense of things. At least as good as it can, considering all the nonsensical stuff that's been happening recently. I mean, there are some crazy, stupid candlesticks and candle wicks that we're seeing. Like this was nonsense, complete nonsense. Now, good news is a lot of my community members were able to take the long. We took profits there. They're also able to take a lot of shorts positions here as well and ride that down. So yesterday was a very good day for the community. I'm very happy about that. But regardless of that fact, we're looking good here, and I think that the continuation should be furthering throughout the weekend. So I speculate we're going to see the price action continue to ascend and break through this trend and effectively give us what we want throughout the weekend. We just got to be mindful, if we have a really strong green weekend, bear in mind Sunday night, when the Eastern markets open, there's a lot of profits that are likely going to be taken, and that can happen. And then, of course, if traditional markets open red like they did today, then we could also have further problems as well. I mean, look at NASDAQ, it's still on its way down, and S&P is down as well. 1.5% traditional markets is really big. That's a big deal. So that's not good. And what's great about this is Bitcoin is doing well contrary to traditional markets. So it's almost decoupling itself from them. And that tells us two things. It's either that it's moving independent of Bitcoin, or independent of the traditional markets, Bitcoin is doing that, or it's found its bottom. And one last thing to touch on, I'll let you go. The bottom for Bitcoin, to me, is this lower Fibonacci retracement level. So if you see this circle here, of course, you see all these lines, right? Well, this one right here, the 0.786, this one is a really strong support level in most cases on traditional Fibonacci retracement lines. If we see, kind of zoom in, you can see that lower level. The lowest the level goes, coincidentally, 17,700. So big coincidence that 17,600 was the most recent low. So heaven forbid the price action continues to be kind of crazy, we should experience a bounce off 17.6 once more if it were to continue this support level based on Fibonacci's circle. Okay. Again, a lot of little things are factoring in here. I think we're looking mostly positive. The negative, we're not overextended either on the smaller time frames. We can see that even though we are underneath VWAP, we did bounce off of this nice little lower standard deviation line. Okay, again, mostly positive stuff here. Again, if you're going to be trading Bitcoin throughout the weekend, be cautious and careful. Make sure if you're using leverage, use small position sizing, and obviously work within your risk tolerance. And don't just follow a signal blindly. Make sure that you use your own TA to ensure that it's comfortable for you. All right? Highly recommend that. All right, so thanks again for joining me here. Greatly appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow.